This is an interesting thought, and maybe an obvious one. Maybe you all have already. You know how anytime anything comes out that's like new, or the new understanding or excitement or craze or whatever, it's always at a certain price. And then the people who can or are willing to or desiring to pay for it, they do. And that furthers that product or program or idea to continue developing. And as it does, the people who pay that high upfront first-time cost are helping support that growth, encouraging that growth. And now that's interesting. Sorry, something was happening outside my window. And so then the next wave, it becomes what we would say like maybe a more reasonable price. And then it continues to get cheaper and cheaper. And so I was listening to what do you call a review? It was a review of something the other day. And they were saying how, in their opinion, it's really, really great, but they're also well aware of how the market works, and they believe it's priced way too high. And like all things, once you wait enough time, the price will come down. And so I thought that's a really interesting concept, because it's all true, but what ends up happening is if everybody started following that concept and they weren't willing to pay for what they really wanted and what they're really excited for and what they'd really like to get their hands on, whether it's information or it's a program or it's a product or whatever the case may be, and they're going to hold back, they're just going to wait. If enough people end up waiting, unfortunately, that beautiful snowball does not continue to develop. And so then they lose out on the potential of what really could have been magnificent. And it could possibly fizzle out completely, right? It's like missing the wave completely. And what a shame. So they're showing so much at once. Can you slow down? And so we can see that it's like, so let's just use a product. And so then nobody wants to pay that price. And that product, let's just use the iPhone, because I feel like that happened with the iPhone, right? So everybody was willing to pay that price, and everybody kept paying it to get the new, an obscene amount for an equipment that wasn't really costing that. But the more people that supported it, the cheaper the cost got, because more people were paying into it, so it could lower the cost. So even though they might have been able to increase their profit, they were also able to increase their technology. And so, kind of, you understand how all this works, I hope, because I don't want to go through all that. The point is there were a lot of people, I think all of us have experienced this, where we get so excited and we pay the big prices right away, right up front. And then as it continues to develop, you want to keep getting ahead of the curve. You want to continue to enjoy it immediately. And it's that instant gratification, that instant fix, while others wait back. And there's pluses and minuses to both. And so people who are paying the immediate, the upfront, usually are of two minds. Either they want it right away, they love it, they're so excited, or they didn't slow down to recognize that they were getting the goods right away to appreciate it. They get pissed off that they didn't wait and get the lesser than. But the people who appreciate paying the price up front and are happy to pay it and are well aware that the price is going to drop, but they're not interested in waiting for it to drop, they're always going to be ahead of the curve. They're always willing to pay that upfront cost, because they realize and recognize they're able to understand and integrate and learn right from the jump, versus waiting and being behind the ball always and forever. And I don't think it's seen that way or understood that way by a lot of people, because people tend to look at the con or the negative, or they don't care or they don't understand. And all of that's fine, because you're not going to enjoy or desire or dive into everything. And that's beautiful. I mean, that's actually really beautiful. I hope you don't love everything. And you want to have that discernment and contrast and know yourself. But this is an easy example to see that, right? Like those who were always on the leading edge really mastered those skills, those tools, those new developments, understood them and integrated them, and then utilized them in more ways than one, because they had more time with it to experiment, to learn, to really dive in, to enjoy what somebody else had created and utilize that new understanding in ways that the creator might not have thought of. And it can be applied to so much and in so many ways. And to me, that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And so it's worth that cost. It's worth that investment, even though down the road, it's so much cheaper. But if you waited until down the road, one, your excitement might have waned, and you might not have even come up with the ideas of how to apply it into so many other ways, or to use it in so many other ways, or the enjoyment, so many things, so many pluses. And I hope I got it out. I think per usual, I do think it's interesting how we think, how we operate, what we decide, what we choose, and watching so many people not really choosing. They're just following a trend. They don't even know why they're choosing what they're choosing or why they're excited. That's interesting. Yeah. So they're showing, they're showing a lot of people do get really excited. Oh, yeah. Sorry. They're showing a lot over here and quick. They're going back to the phone too. So many people got excited. Remember they used to show, maybe they still do this, but they used to show all these people would line up. Line up, like down the street, around the block, around the corner, down further. It was insanity. Like people would really line up to get the latest and the greatest of these technologies. And, but a mass majority of them were not for what I'm referencing for. It was more for like, I need to have the latest and the greatest to be seen as the latest and the greatest, to be seen as the coolest, it wasn't for the true, authentic excitement for the product itself and how it could be useful for them. It was more of the perception of being able to get the latest and greatest to being, like, do you see what I'm saying? There's such a difference, but I think a lot of times people aren't even aware of why they're doing what they're doing, right? Like, I think the large part of that crowd, if you really asked them, do they need it? No. Why do you even want it? Do you know about, is there something you're interested in? Is there like, what's the real motive here? And if they were honest and could get to the crux of it, it was like, oh, because I want to show everybody I can afford it. Oh, I want to show everybody I'm cool. I want to show everybody I have the latest and greatest. I want to show everybody I'm better than them because I feel less than them. And this thing will make me feel better than, until it doesn't, until you're reaching for the next thing and 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 the next thing. And you realize, oh my God, why can't I get ahead? Because you're not loving yourself. You're not being honest with yourself, and you're seeking outside yourself to get that validation. You're not actually following your truest heart's excitement, right? That's the idea of like those that it's truly exciting for. That's maybe a bad example because it's such a massive thing that everybody uses. But that happens with a lot of things, right? Where we end up not sure why we're doing what we're doing, right? We think we are, but if you got real honest with yourself, really honest with yourself, there's probably so many things you would or wouldn't do, buy or wouldn't buy, believe or wouldn't believe, if you could get to the crux of the truth of your motivation, your intention, where it's coming from. Because when you can get to your center, when you can get to your alignment, when you can get aligned, and you can think on your own, and you can make these decisions, and again, it can be challenging because we're inundated. Your whole life can start to shift. in ways that are truly blissful for you, right? They're not aligned and painted for everyone else, but you're screaming inside and can't even hear it. It's always like the fake illusion, right? Like you see so many people that are living a life that's painted in a way that many, many, many would perceive as perfect. And yet they can't ever seem to slow down or get happy or feel satisfaction or truly be at peace. And they don't slow down to find out why. Because at the core of them, they know why. And they're running from that truth. They're running from it. So they just keep filling up with what they believe will satisfy and fill their justification, right? Their list of excuses, what they believe at their current belief, to match their current belief, Well, when I have this, or when I do that, or when I have this, or when I do that, then, but then never, ever, 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 ever arrives when you're going about it that way. And that core truth is like, oh, fuck. But then we think it's so much harder than it is. We make it harder than it is. It's like they're too scared to stop that belief. It's like, well, I'm in it now. And so they hold up the facade, but it gets really heavy holding up that facade, because once you peek behind the curtain, once you see that truth, it's really heavy to hold up that facade. You're like, I don't really want any of this. I really don't. This isn't what's satiating me, but I have to hold it because I've told everybody in the world and And meanwhile, you can just drop it because nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. And if that's what you've been doing for a long time, the majority of people that you think give a fuck are doing the exact same thing. They're holding up their facade. Some of them are aware and it's getting heavy on them. Others are still wildly unaware. And so they're choosing to turn that blind eye and refuse to hear and listen. And so you can either continue to hold up that facade for those people, which continues to play into that facade holding, but now you're aware, so it's getting heavier and heavier. Or you can actually drop it all and love yourself and go live. And so it seems like such an easy and obvious choice, but that is not what I see. It's not. It ends up being, it's the idea of the identity crisis. So even when we do the work and we drop it, it can still, it's like have ripple effects where I know there's things that have been more difficult for me and not difficult for me, where it's like even when you drop them easily, so even when you drop the things that are easy to drop, sometimes it still takes a while for that ripple to settle down. Right? It's like, so you can still feel that rippling out. So it's like when you smash the identity, there's parts of it that might smash that'll have a bigger ripple effect than others. And it's just interesting. I'm babbling again. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. You can now purchase an audio journey with me using the link below.